Look, I thought I'd done enough to win the fight. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't as clear cut as I'd initially wanted it to be, but I definitely thought I'd done enough.
I genuinely think he took way too much punishment, and that's, I mean, that was so severe. If I were him, I'd never fight again.
Well, Wardley showed his limitations and his lack of pedigree, and he was very crude with that right hand over the right hand attack, but he showed so much heart and guts and desire. He just kept going for it. He was never going to quit, was he? He was never going to turn around and fold or take a knee and quit in there.
Fabio Wardley speaks out for the first time after announcing retirement. He admits he is completely broken after this defeat and says the loss has shattered his confidence and spirit, revealing he now wants rest from boxing and is seriously considering retirement because he feels mentally drained and unable to continue at elite level anymore.
Sometimes in fights and stuff, it can sway the judge's opinion of where they think the fight's going and how it's going out and stuff. And there's little annoyances as well, blood going to my eye and in my mouth and stuff like that. So
Fabio Wardley reflects on his career with pride, saying his achievements have become part of his legacy in boxing. However, he makes it clear he doesn't want to go through that level of punishment repeatedly. His words suggest a fighter aware of the damage, becoming more cautious about how long he can continue.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's great to have that part of my history now, part of my legacy, but I'm not trying to do it too many times over.
Frank Warren reacts to Fabio Wardley's retirement talk with concern, saying he hopes it is not the end of his boxing career. He makes it clear that if Wardley continues, the team will support him in the right way moving forward. Warren also reflects on Wardley's journey, highlighting that he has been involved in some truly great and memorable fights in his career.
Well, I hope that's not going to be the case for him, and if he carries on, you know, we certainly would be looking to help him in that way. But look, he's been involved in some of the.
Eddie Hearn questions Fabio Wardley's recent decision-making, suggesting something felt off in his fight week confidence and energy. While praising him as a great servant to boxing, he admits the matchup seemed strange. His comments hint that Wardley may not have been in the right mindset, raising concerns about his direction and future choices.
How good of a servant has he been to box?
He's a great guy. I just felt this week, I've been around him a lot of fight weeks, I just didn't feel any kind of confidence or buzz. And I think when I heard that this fight was getting made, I thought, that's a strange fight for him.
Duke McKenzie praises Fabio Wardley's incredible heart, but also highlights the brutal punishment he took in the fight. He suggests the damage was so severe that it could affect him long-term, even expressing sympathy for him. His reaction shifts from admiration to concern, showing just how physically punishing the contest truly was.
Fabio Wardley has got a heart as big as a bucket, and some of the punches he took last night, he may not come back from, because he was taking right hands, he was eating them so flush. It was quite brutal to watch at times. I've actually felt sorry for Fabio.
Dominic Ingle gives a very harsh assessment, suggesting Fabio Wardley may have taken too much damage to continue improving at elite level. He believes Wardley has natural ability but hasn't proven himself against current champions, which raises doubts about his progress. In his view, repeated hard fights have limited his ability to rebuild technically. The concern is not talent, but whether his career has already absorbed too much physical punishment.
Fight difference, fighting a world champion, a legitimate world champion for a title, and beating a world champion who's already a world champion. And Fabio Wardley hasn't beat a current world champion to be the champion, has he?
Josie Parker's been a champion.
Yeah, but he wasn't the champion,
No.
right? So
Derek Chisora criticizes Wardley's approach, saying he lacked basic boxing fundamentals like the jab and relied too heavily on power shots. His frustration highlights poor preparation and discipline in the ring. Chisora believes Wardley abandoned structure and fought recklessly instead of boxing smart. In his view, this performance reflects a fighter who did not execute the game plan properly and paid the price for ignoring technical basics under pressure.
Fabio was not ready for boxing. He was no jab, nothing, looking for power shots. It is like he didn't train. He was busy commentating. Little bastard. He was supposed to fucking train in the gym. How many jabs did Fabio chuck? Less jabs. He didn't chuck no jabs. He didn't do anything we've seen before.
Carl Frock breaks down Wardley's performance as technically flawed, pointing out his crude attacks and lack of range control. He believes Wardley relied too much on knockout hunting rather than disciplined boxing. Froch acknowledges his career success but warns that naivety and poor shot selection cost him in this fight. In his analysis, Wardley's failure to maintain fundamentals like foot positioning and timing ultimately left him exposed against a sharper opponent.
Fabio Wardley neglected all of his little bit of boxing skill, what he's learned over the white collar and through the fights that he's been involved in. I mean, he's had a fantastic career, and I don't think this is the end of Fabio Wardley at all, but he showed that he's a bit naive and a bit green. Like I said, his attacks were very crude. I don't know what Ben Davison should have been telling him. Stop throwing that overhand right from out of range. He's looking for the knockout punch. He's not even got his feet in range.
The Wade Plemons delivers a very concerning breakdown of the fight, focusing on the alarming condition Wardley was in during the later rounds. He describes him stumbling, disoriented, and struggling to even understand what was happening around him. His concern grows as he questions ringside safety and medical attention during such heavy punishment. While he praises Wardley's iron chin and toughness, he also highlights how dangerous the situation became.
Where Fabio is stumbling around, he's not even aware of his surroundings, it doesn't look like. The doctors are checking on him round after round. And, you know, I said Daniel had big stones to get off the canvas. Fabio Wardley's got a chin of iron because he ate some absolute nukes. Shots that put Anthony Joshua on the floor from Daniel Dubois and probably would have put a lesser man in the hospital that night. I mean, I'm sure Fabio's in the hospital now, but stretcher job.
Barry McGuigan strongly warns against any idea of a rematch, saying the punishment Wardley took was far too severe to risk again. He believes continuing after such damage could be extremely dangerous for his health and long-term future. His tone is serious and protective, focusing less on competition and more on safety. McGuigan clearly feels Wardley has nothing left to prove in another immediate fight and should step away from danger. In his opinion, retirement or a long break would be the safest and most responsible option after such a brutal encounter.
I don't think he should fight. I genuinely don't think he should take that rematch. I think that's too dangerous. I genuinely think he took way too much punishment, and that was so severe. If I were him, I'd never fight again.
Johnny Nelson gives a tactical breakdown of Wardley's performance, explaining how he started the fight well with structure, jab work, and controlled movement. However, once his plan stopped working, everything fell apart. Nelson highlights the absence of a backup strategy, which caused Wardley to lose shape and composure from the middle rounds onward. He emphasizes that elite boxing requires adaptability, and without it, even a strong start can collapse quickly. In his analysis, Wardley's downfall came from failing to adjust when the fight shifted away from his original game plan.
First half of the fight, he kept his shape. You know, the jabs were working, dominant head to body, kept slinging that big right hand over the top. Now and again, he's whip it up the middle. He had good feet for a big guy, good feet. And I thought, you look the part. But then there was no plan B that he could rely on if that didn't work. And you saw from round 6, he lost his shape. The shape had gone because there was no plan B. You know, when he get hit, he was like, he completely turned. And trust me, this boy's got no coward in him.
David Haye praises the fight as one of the most exciting heavyweight battles in recent memory, highlighting the constant back and forth action and raw intensity. He admires both fighters for their bravery, toughness, and willingness to trade under extreme pressure. In his view, this is exactly what fans expect from heavyweight boxing at the highest level: drama, heart, and non-stop action. Haye suggests the fight was so entertaining that it could be watched repeatedly, showing just how much respect he has for both men and the spectacle they delivered in the ring.
I've never seen a heavyweight fight that captivating, that entertaining, round after round, backwards and forwards. The heart on these guys, the balls, the bravery. That's what you want to pay. That's what you want to. We hope every time we tune in for a heavyweight championship, you're getting that type of energy. They both gave everything they had. I could watch that 10 times.
Daniel reflects on the fight as a real test of character, especially coming off the back of a previous loss. He admits he started nervously and felt slightly overwhelmed early on, but managed to regain control as the fight progressed. The corner moment, including the slaps, is seen as a wake-up call that helped him reset mentally. In his view, this was about digging deep into that dark place fighters talk about and finding a way to survive and win, proving resilience, discipline, and warrior mentality under pressure.
And came through that test, you know, coming off the back of a loss. I was a bit nervy to start off with and a bit all over the place, but I pulled it together and got the victory.
Don Charles reacts with strong belief in Daniel's mentality, saying nobody can question his heart or commitment anymore after that performance. He dismisses all criticism about quitting or weakness, insisting that this victory proves his toughness at the highest level. His tone is confident and supportive, highlighting the achievement of becoming a two-time heavyweight champion. For him, this is not just a win, but a statement that silenced doubters and opens the door for even bigger opportunities in the future of his boxing career.
Nobody could ever question this young man again. Yeah? All that quitting nonsense, nobody will ever question him again.
Two-time heavyweight champion of the world under you.
It sounds good, doesn't it?
It does. It sounds
great. There's more to come. We were in there with a very dangerous fighter in the name of Fabio Wardley. He should be proud of himself.
Buddy McGirt breaks down the fight with a tactical focus, pointing out that the early knockdown changed everything. He believes Wardley became too predictable, relying heavily on the right hand and abandoning basic fundamentals like jabs and defense. Despite this, McGirt still praises the heart shown by both fighters and calls it a great fight overall. He even suggests a rematch, showing respect for the competitiveness of the bout. In his analysis, small tactical mistakes early on shaped the entire outcome of the fight.
Hell of a fight. I think the worst thing that happened was that knockdown in the first round. After that, Wardley was just looking for that right hand. No jabs, no defense, no left hook. Sorry, meat and chicken. You know what I mean? But it was a hell of a fight. He showed the heart of a champion, and I think there should be a rematch.
Do you think that Fraser Clark calls Daniel a true warrior, focusing more on heart and grit than technical perfection. He admits the fight wasn't the cleanest heavyweight display, but it delivered exactly what fans want: blood, pressure, and relentless action. Clark highlights how Daniel learned and adapted after the knockdown, showing growth and resilience during the fight. In his view, this performance proves development under pressure, turning a difficult moment into a strong comeback and reinforcing Daniel's reputation as a tough, evolving heavyweight contender.
Of course, I said he's going to come out faster, yeah, but Daniel recovered well. He's learned. He's learned from his knockdowns before. He's learned a lot, you know what I mean? So, yeah, he's done well, Fabio.
Dominic Ingle describes this as one of the greatest fights he has ever witnessed, praising both fighters for their toughness and refusal to give up. He highlights Fabio Wardley's incredible durability, noting that he never quit and his corner never stopped the fight. At the same time, he praises Daniel Dubois for staying composed, sticking to his plan, and adapting even when fatigue set in. In his view, Wardley kept finding something left in the tank, making it a true war of attrition and a memorable heavyweight battle.
Hey, you know what I mean? I was trying to say to my missus, he's still in this, and I was right in. But you never know. Or he took it off, put it there, I didn't like to see that. What do you think of the early knockdowns from Fabio? Yeah, I off called it. I said he's going to come out faster, yeah, but Daniel recovered well. He's learned. He's learned from his knockdowns before. He's learned a lot, you know what I mean? So, yeah, he's done well, Fabio. I could have things to him. Do you think he'll get the third fight with Alexander Usyk, Daniel?
Daniel Dubois reflects on the mental battle inside the fight, explaining how he needed a wake-up call in the corner to reset his focus. He describes the importance of staying calm, staying in reality, and digging deep when things get difficult. His words highlight the mindset of a true warrior who understands that boxing is not just physical but also mental. For him, success comes from pushing through pain, entering that dark place, and finding a way to come out on top when everything is on the line.
Needed that slap just to wake up, you know, stay in reality, you know, it's not slip, you know, I got to dig deep. And as a warrior, you have to dig deep because you've got to go to that dark place and come out on top.
David Adelai breaks down the tactical battle, focusing on how Daniel's jab became the key weapon that controlled the fight. He suggests that Wardley's right-hand attempts were repeatedly punished by sharp counters, which slowly gave Daniel confidence as the rounds progressed. Adelai explains that the jab wasn't just scoring but also breaking rhythm and building dominance over time. In his view, this small technical advantage shifted momentum, allowing Daniel to dictate range and gradually wear Wardley down, turning the fight in his favor through disciplined, consistent boxing fundamentals.
I don't think he fought old demons when he got dropped. I think he started to think old demons when he started to think his things weren't working. But you know what was giving Daniel confidence? He kept landing a jab. Every time Wardley threw a right hand, Dubois would stick a jab and it would touch his target. That there was giving Dubois hope that, okay, then I can stand in front of my target and I can land with a jab. And he knew he was softening up Wardley with a jab as the rounds went on.
Ajit Kabale describes the fight as extremely difficult for both men, praising the resilience shown throughout. He highlights the dramatic momentum swings, with knockdowns early on creating a chaotic and unpredictable contest. Despite the punishment, both fighters continued to recover and fight back, which impressed him as a viewer and competitor. Kabale focuses less on technical detail and more on heart and entertainment value, calling it a brilliant spectacle. In his view, the fight delivered everything fans could hope for: drama, knockdowns, and constant intensity from start to finish.
But I think for the crowd, but also a nice fight. Unbelievable. I like it.
Was you surprised about the heart that Daniel showed down?
Yes, 100% I was surprised. But you know, Daniel gave a good performance. You know, he was in the first and then the 4 rounds, I don't know. He was one down.
Second, sorry?
In the second round, he was down, and in the first round, he was down. And
first round and second round, yeah.
Crazy. But he come back, you know. I like it.
Fraser Clark calls Daniel a true warrior, emphasizing toughness and raw determination over technical perfection. He admits the fight was not the cleanest display of heavyweight boxing, but says it was exactly what fans wanted to see: blood, pressure, and relentless action. Clark praises both fighters for delivering an all-out war and acknowledges the entertainment value for the crowd. In his view, this type of fight proves why heavyweight boxing remains so popular, with heart, grit, and survival instincts often matching just as much as skill inside the ring.
I wasn't Daniel Dubois, Fabio Wardley, absolute warrior. It wasn't the most skilled heavyweight fight I've ever seen, but it was just what the fans wanted to see. The fans wanted that. I mean, that was blood and guts, but well done, Daniel Dubois. Good fight.
This fight leaves behind more questions than answers as both fighters push themselves through one of the most brutal heavyweight battles in recent memory. Fabio Wardley's future now looks uncertain, with many questioning whether the punishment he absorbed will force him to step away from the sport or rebuild from scratch. On the other hand, Daniel Dubois has once again proven his ability to dig deep, adapt under pressure, and come out on top when it matters most. Fans are divided between calling it a career-defining war and a dangerous turning point for Wardley. What happens next could define both men's legacies in boxing. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Should Wardley continue fighting or walk away for good?